Welcome back to Blue and Blur, everybody. My name is Mark.
And I'm RJ. And when we get right back, we're going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs and how they do for the rest of the season.
All right, so now we did a video on the Montreal Canadiens and the rest of their season. Now let's talk about the Leafs. What's in store for the Leafs?
Well,
who's coming? Who's going?
To start off with, we got to talk about Austin Matthews. There's a lot of, he won the gold medal, as we know, and there's a lot of things about that. A lot of the U.S. players took the time. They just won the gold, and the reporters are asking them, "How do you feel?" and all this. And like the Hughes brothers, a couple other guys, all mentioned like this is the monkey off Matthews' back, and this is he's a winner, and you guys and really picking on the Toronto media and fans, saying that you guys are too tough, and you don't know what you're talking about, and he's a winner, and all I gotta say is I'll say this about I didn't even know the guy had teeth. That freaking smile, that smile that's the first time I've ever seen him like be so joyful. And all the more power to him about that. That's wonderful. He scored I think he had, how many points did he have? He had 7 points. Yeah, here it is right here. He had 3 goals, 4 assists. He was on the ice for big moments in the actual gold medal game. He didn't set the world on fire. You never saw him dominate or put the team on his back or anything like that. But all we heard, he's playing so wonderful. His all his analytics, his defense, his blocking shots, and all this, and on about his defense, and that's wonderful. But I made this point a few videos ago. We paid $14 million a year for this guy. They didn't pay to have him be Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful that he's a great defensive player. But I mean, if he's not going to get a knock on the door of 50 goals and 110 points, then he's not a $14 million player.
Yeah, he was.
So anyway, just to rain on the parade a little bit. But well done for him.
He was 11th total in points for the whole tournament, which is great. But I watched every single game. Yeah. I didn't find him that noticeable.
You never do. This is that's what even in Toronto you don't. He doesn't do what McKinnon and McDavid do.
No.
Ever. He doesn't carry the puck. He hardly ever carries the puck. I like to get that analytic. How fast he gets the puck. He always dishes it off. Anyway, he is a great defensive player. He was their shutdown guy. And they won, and he's got that on his resume now. He may never win a cup.
just to jab one in. I think Marner was more noticeable on the ice than.
Well, Marner was. We'll get to him on it when we do our Olympic video. But anyway, the other thing about it that's interesting is the U.S. team just landed, and we're doing this video on Tuesday afternoon. They've just landed in Washington, flew on Air Force One, and so they're going to the White House and for a reception, and the State of the Union tonight. And there's a lot of talk. Will Matthews get back to Florida for Wednesday and Tampa? Will he play in the Tampa game? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, he's got to play in the Tampa game. You're paying $14 million a year, and the season's on the line here. They're 6 points back. Every game, they need all hands on deck. I don't care if he's hungover. He's got Trump hair on his shoulders that's fallen out. I don't care. He's got to play. He's got to, and so he's because here's a situation with the Leafs right now. Joshua is going to come back at some point, or maybe even play, maybe be healthy enough to go right now. Taneff's coming back on as maybe right before the deadline, somewhere around that. They're slating him in for a early March return. So actually, the injury sheet will be clean. I think Nylander's still a bit feeling that groin, though. I was watching him in the place for Sweden. But all's good. They're healthy. And here's the situation. They're 6 points back, but they're really 7 because because of such terrible first couple of months of the season. Their stats are not good for tiebreakers. So, they're 6 points back of Boston, but they got to get 7 because they lose a tiebreaker with Pittsburgh or Boston. So
they're starting the post-Olympic season 7th in the division, 6th in the conference, 20th in the league. Yeah. So not out of the running.
Well, the thing of it is the last several years, 98 points has been the cutoff. This year, because there's been more competitive balance in the conference, it looks like 95. So let's go with 95. So Leafs have 25 games left. To get to 25, they'd have to win 16 games. Somehow they have to get 32 points to get to 95, and I don't know how they're going to do that.
winning 2/3 of their game, that's a big ask.
That's a big ask. So, I
and everybody else has to lose.
Well, other guys have to lose. Yeah. If a couple of teams ahead of them all rip it and go, win 9 out of 10, then the math won't math there. It doesn't matter whether they, if they win 8 out of 10 and the other teams they just won't catch them. So, what does that leave us? That leaves us in a desperate situation, and the deadline approaching next week. And so the Leafs have 6 games. They have a busy schedule. They have 3 games this week. They're the 2 Florida games: Tampa Wednesday, Florida Thursday. Host Ottawa on Saturday. Before I go on, let's talk about that because that's going to be the first game back. And when Sundin won the gold medal for Sweden in 2006, Toronto had a ceremony, and almost all the teams in the league will do ceremonies for the gold medalists that played for their teams. That's kind of standard operating. So it'll be interesting to see what the Leaf crowd. I think they'll cheer him. They cheered Sundin crazy, but Sundin was not as a controversial figure as Matthews. But I'm pretty sure he's going to get a warm reception on Saturday night. Anyway, from there they play 3 more games next week. So they got 6 games between now and the deadline. And so they might make the Tree Living won't have a decision. They can take the phone out of his hands for buying or because they lose 4 or 5 of those, they're out. But let's say they win 5 of those next 6 games, then Tree Living's got to keep his job. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, strip 5 guys out of this lineup, and they fall back and go down and try and get his maybe a draft lottery pick. I mean, Tree Living might not be there, but he might get the walking papers in May. So, as I always like to say, general managers are not there to win cups; they're there to keep their jobs. So,
and we have to remember what happened right before the Olympic break, right? They went on a little bit of a down skid, and then they won that blowout last game before, and everything's
they
fixed.
won 3 games in a row.
They
won 3 games in a row,
and everything's fixed. And we don't need to change anything anymore.
Here's what I think. We'll do a deeper dive next week, but I'm going to be watching. I'm going to predict that they're not going to be in it. They're going to be probably in the same situation, about 6 points back, and I'll be watching because Bobby McMahon at $1.4 million is a steal for some. One of the playoff teams that has a high, not much room on the cap, can put him on there. So Bobby McMahon should be moved, and I think that Larson, 34 years old. I mean, how much more can you get out of him for the Leafs in the next year or two? Trade him. I think Scott Lawton's got to go. He's a free agent. Maybe he'll come back. You trade him for a pick, and then maybe re-sign him if you like him that much. Well, I got a reason why. We'll do another video about that. It's why Lawton's got to actually be removed from the team. I think he has. And then, get what you can for Carlo, too.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned...
So those 4 guys, and Benoit. Benoit actually looked good as an 8th defenseman in Montreal with the French name. So I would phone Montreal and say, hey, give us a 4th round for Benoit. Carlo's got to go. Lawton's got to go. Larson's got to go. McCann's got to go. And anyone's dreaming if they think a general manager around this league is going to take that Domi contract or Janrock. I don't see those guys moving. Probably Joshua's unmovable too.
Right. So you mentioned there's 16. We got to win 16 out of the next 25. Right.
Well, somehow, they got to come up with 32 points. They got to win. They got to win 14 games and a bunch of ties.
Right. So they're not making it with this lineup. Let's say 3 moves. You got to do 3 moves right now. You're the GM. You're doing 3 moves.
3 moves to try to win.
To try and get the 16.
No,
wins.
there's no. It's malpractice. You can't. There's no because they're no player. There's been a lot of talk about New Jersey selling off too. Go get Dougie Hamilton. Go get another puck mover on the. So okay, they could do that, or they could go get Dougie Hamilton. Is that really good? No, it's crazy. Trade a 2nd round for Dougie Hamilton to try to get and then get in the playoffs and then get absolutely mauled by Carolina or Tampa or whoever they play. No, it's.
So what do you say? Wait it out and do all the moves this summer?
Yeah, well, you got to trade these guys now to get these guys. McMahon's a free agent too, by the way. So he may just someone might offer him crazy $5 million, right? And he's gone. So get something for him,
right?
And he's valuable because he's only $1.4 million. So a team like Colorado or Carolina that's up at the max out on the cap, or Edmonton, they could fit this guy in. So if they don't make these moves, it's to me it's egregious, and I'd fire. I think Trilling should be gone at the end of the year anyway. But and that's why you need like Keith Pelly. He's not a hockey man. You need a guy. You need a guy at the top, and I hope Keith Pelly can do it. make the decisions for the future of the team. Not this is the problem they've done in the past. They've just thought, well, let's win. Let's get one playoff round and sell some beers. No, don't do that. Just
So you still think that everybody comes back, everybody's healthy.
If they would,
and so 16 games is too big of an ask.
16 out of 25, yeah, I think it's too big of an ask.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, let's go another way though. What happens if the Leafs win five, or they get points in 6 games?
Yeah, let's say 4 out of 6.
Right? Well, they win 4 and tie and overtime losses in 2. They end up with that's 10 points added, and say Boston and Pittsburgh, whatever, hit the skids a little bit. I don't know. And they're only 2 points back on trade deadline day. I don't know. Tree Living will start trying to buy. I don't know. I think it's okay. Here's what I think. They should sell, or they should do nothing. Because buying to put lipstick on this pig, they're not. There's no way this team's winning 3 rounds, let alone 4. This team's not winning 4 rounds.
No, this team, no. I don't think you got the goalie for that. And Montreal doesn't have him either right now.
Goal is one of our stronger. Okay, that's another thing, by the way. Glad you brought up goalies. We've got 3 that are not too bad. They're not the greatest, but they've all put in some. Stolarz has struggled a little bit, but Wall, Hildeby, and Stolarz. Hildeby's 24 years old now. He's put in enough games. He will not qualify as he's qualified for waivers now. So when next September rolls around, training camp ends, they will only be able to protect 2 goalies. So a decision has to be made between now and next September on those 3 goalies. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another important thing. And perhaps right now would be you get the most value, because there might be a team out there that says, we can't we need another goalie in case one of ours goes down.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll get something for Stolarz and get that contract out and go with Wall and Hildeby next year.
Yeah, I think that's.
So that's another. So if I was general manager, there'd be a lot of action. There'd be plane tickets bought, and
people would be moving.
Yeah, there'd be moves.
Pull your kids out of school.
There'd be storage bins getting bought at Costco to go and pack their shit up and get out of town. I'm ruthless. That's what they got to do. I want nothing less on deadline day, and if it's not, I'm going to be a pretty unhappy guy on this side of the mic.
You want to talk about Domi before we wrap it up?
Well, no, I already said that. He's untradeable. Anyone who thinks they're going to get something for Domi, he's untradeable. Yeah. No. What? You have something else about Domi?
I don't know.
No. Domi and Janrock are maybe Janrock they could pitch out get a 6th round for some general manager that's charitable, but no, Domi's untradeable. I mean, Domi has to play in the first. Another thing about Matthews being such a defensive guy, which he is, that's why Domi's playing with him on right wing, because that's the only center he can be effective with, because he's got Matthews looking after the back end. You put Domi with a less like with Tavares, who's getting slower. He can't keep up, and he can't follow his assignments, and the puck's going in the net. I'm hard on Domi.
Yeah, well, he should be. Anyways, let us know what you think down below in the comments. What moves would you make to put some life back in these Leafs and possibly get those 16 games? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.